Giving all glory, all praises to the mighty Yah of hosts. Hallelujah. This podcast is going out to the world today, and we are here on the segment entitled Duty of Man, primarily hosted by Elder Morey Yemuel Ben Yisrael, who has been a part of the House of Israel community in Cincinnati for over 40 years. And this is our 5th episode on marriage and relationships. So we will go ahead and get started on the podcast. Welcome. Share this link, send it out to your family and friends. Hallelujah. Be sure to interact with us on the chat as well. Maria.
Hallelujah. Only one correction on it is almost 40 years.
Almost 40
Not
years.
over 40 years, yeah,
Sorry
almost 40 years. That's good. Listen, my goal is to help relationships. My goal is to instill some wisdom with the men and the women. My goal is to call out foolery on both parts. And so I like talking about things. Like I said, I've been in relationships since I was, say, in the area of 16, 17. I've been married more than once. And the bottom line is, I would rather be married than be out doing some things that the Almighty don't want us to be doing. I've got some wisdom. I know what I do know, and the things that I don't know I don't know those things.
That's right.
So what I want to do is, the wisdom that I do have, I just want to share it. And if it helps somebody out, then that's a blessing. It's a blessing for me to be able to do it, and a blessing for somebody else to be able to receive it, implement it, and hopefully it work for them. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We appreciate you. Uriah, you want to say anything before we get started?
Yeah, I'm just ready to get to it, you know.
You ready to get to it, huh?
Just keep it short and sweet.
Well, how you guys want to start today? You got any particular questions? Matter of fact, let me make a statement, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
I wrote down a few things because there's some things that I didn't want to forget that I definitely wanted to implement today here. So the first thing I got here is, some women don't want to change and think they're fine just the way they are. Not willing to change bad habits that's sure to kill their relationships. This holds true for men as well. See, I know when I started, some people probably thought I was just going to talk about the ladies, but no, this is for men and women. Now, what do y'all think when an individual have bad habits that can be, and in a lot of cases are, red flags off the top? At the beginning of a relationship, a person feels so comfortable that they feel like they can talk to you any kind of way, which actually would end up being a bad habit. That means you ain't the first person that they talk to in a, let's say, a destructive manner, a way that's not good. And vice versa, because guys might go in thinking that, it's okay to talk, and I think to talk reckless. Ain't that what you young folks say?
Right. Oh, yeah.
To talk reckless. So my thing is, if I'm not going to talk reckless to you, then I wouldn't want you to be talking reckless to me, because either way you look at it, it's disrespectful. Even as a man, if I'm just going to talk to a woman that I say I'm interested in, and I'm just talking to her any kind of way, that's disrespectful.
Oh, yeah.
And likewise, if she's doing the same thing, then that means she's projecting masculine energy onto me. Now, I don't know if either one of you guys, I'm pretty sure that you may understand, both of you may understand when I'm saying if she's talking to you reckless, that's masculine energy. One of y'all speak on it. Let me see what you know and what you don't know.
To me, go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess when it comes to masculine energy, it's something that's dominating. In other words,
Be specific. Give me some examples of something.
if I would say, if you give her, I wouldn't even say a command or a direction, but if you would say give her advice, and the thing is she rejected without her without, I wouldn't even say reason, but she just turns it down without even, to me that's I think would be masculine energy. And then not only that, I think masculine energy is like also being combative, you know what I mean, and not cooperative, you know what I mean?
You mean elevating your tone and all kinds of things?
Yeah,
Some profanities and whatnot. Let me tell you something. And some women may disagree with what I'm getting ready to say here. But your femininity will get you a lot farther in any relationship than projecting masculine energy. And like I say often, a lot of times a woman may not even realize that that's what she's doing, using masculine energy. She may not understand it.
She may not realize it.
Exactly. May not realize it, may not understand it. So sometimes it might have to be broken down and explained because, again, people in a lot of cases tend to become a product of their environment. So a lot of times it's based on the environment that they come from. You see, if you come from an unhealthy, toxic type environment, we tend to pick up things because, again, people say what they hear said. They do what they see done. And we're a very expressive type people, right?
Yes, sir.
So a lot of times people show their hurt and they project their hurt on other people. People of today are more or less watered down. And if this is not pertaining to you, don't get upset or whatnot. But if it is, because a lot of times people don't have the patience like people of the old times. You know what I'm saying? This is that instant generation.
Oh, yeah.
You want it now. You want it how you want it, when you want it, and whatnot. And you feel like, people tend to feel like they can say whatever it is they want to say, however they want to say it. But that's not healthy to retaining a relationship.
That's right.
It's not healthy to retaining a marriage. But you speak on it.
Masculinity in relationship, so many different ways.
Let's give an example or two.
An example. Let's see. Oh, I know one. You come home from a long day at work, and you want to get some rest. You know what I mean? You want to lay down, get some rest, and she like, you lazy, or she want to be combative with you when you coming home from a long day at work, or she want to argue, she want to have some petty arguments or anything like that. To me, that's displaying a lack of consideration, but that's also displaying masculine energy. Because why you want to fight with me after I done had a long day at work? You could have just came to me nicely, you know what I mean? Came to me in the correct way, and I could have gave you some attention rather than you just picking the argument as soon as I jump in the house over something small. You ain't take the garbage out. You ain't do this. You ain't do that. I've been at work all day.
Well, see, here's the thing. The thing is, she shouldn't want to argue with you at all, let alone the fact that you just came home from work. So if a woman wants to argue, that's masculine energy right there.
The mirror.
If you say something and you're talking to her, but she doesn't like what you say. Or maybe she don't even like the way you said it, but you said it in a way to where you thought it was sufficient. It wasn't to be nasty, but then say she gets an attitude or whatnot. That's masculine energy right there. We need to learn how to contain ourselves. You're not always going to be happy in your relationships. We know that, right? Anybody who's been in a relationship, all relationships have ups and downs, right? You have your good times, you have some bad times. So what do you do when you have those so-called bad times? Because we know it's not going to just stay that way. We need to figure out how to get through it, right? Without walking away. See, here's the thing. With today's relationships, again, the people are so watered down, they don't know how to communicate. And a lack of communication will, in fact, destroy your relationship. A lack of proper communication. Some people may shut down and not communicate. Some people may argue, and some people might. A lot of times, there's plenty of relationships. I guarantee you, people go for days without even speaking.
That's.
How is that possible? If you proclaim to love one another and you're in a relationship and you're there for the long haul with the ups and downs, and you're gonna find this in a bunch of relationships from our community. Why? Because we haven't learned how to communicate. in a way that's going to be constructive. We haven't learned how to build up equity in our relationships. See, that word, a relationship equity, give me an idea on what that means to you, Uriah. Let me give you a hint, though. If you do certain things to your house to make your house be better, whether in the appearance, and replacing this or doing things that's going to be a benefit,
Right.
then you put equity in that house. You reduce some things, you change some things around, maybe put in some new counters or cabinets, or just repairing. You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Repairing things.
Right.
Like sometimes our relationships need to be repaired. That's how you get that equity. So that being said, give me some ideas on how a person can develop some. You're married, so let you speak on it first. How to build up some equity in your marriage.
Spending quality time with one another.
That's good.
Taking each other, and it ain't got to be nothing too extravagant. Y'all can be in the house and spend time with each other. You know what I mean? Sending kids off.
Talk a little loud. Make sure everybody hear you.
Yeah, for sure. So we talking about relationship equity, things that can help build the value of the relationship. Spending quality time with each other. That's probably, to me, one of the most important ones. Also having a spiritual. Doing spiritual exercises as well, such as reading together, reading the scriptures together, maybe going over Proverbs or Psalms, praying with one another every night. Those are ways to definitely build the equity of a relationship, because you want to go beyond. You want to go beyond just the physical. I feel like when you're trying to increase the value, you want to get to really connect with them on a deep and intimate level, and I don't really see any other way of doing that the most efficiently other than that spiritual piece. That was the way me and my wife first connected, was the spirituality. One of the things we used to do, we prayed every night before we went to sleep. We still do sometimes. We kind of fell off on that, but we used to pray every night together. You know what I mean? We serve Yah together, worship Yah together. You know what I'm saying? As a family. So those are some key ways to build the equity in a relationship. Yeah.
Let me respond to what you just said here. Especially just one part of it, because there's a commonality there. And you said you and your wife pray together. I think that's beautiful. Some years ago, my wife asked me a question. And that question was, how come we don't pray together? And that immediately clicked when she said that. When she asked me that question. And it made me think, damn, why didn't I think of that? And so we started praying together. Like every morning when I get up, we'd join hands and we'd say a prayer. And I like to pray. I would like to pray before I leave the house, and then I'd say at least 3 different prayers while I'm in the car driving to work every single morning, right? But you said something that happened in my relationship as well, because that went on for a very long time, but I fell off. And see, here's the way we can kind of help one another, because you brought that up to mind, and the reason, I can be honest with you, why that fell off. Because in relationships, you're going to have your good times, you're going to have your bad times. You're going to have some times when you argue, you're going to have some time, and that's not going to be all of the time. But I got to the point to where when I would literally argue with the woman that I profess my love for, it didn't make me feel good. And I had an issue with going before the Almighty and my spirit not being right. Say, like if there was an argument the night before or that morning or whatever. And like I say, everybody's going to, over a period of time, everybody's going to have those type of situations. But I stopped because it was very difficult for me to say my prayers without messing up because my spirit wasn't right.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to go before the Almighty and my spirit is not right.
I feel you on that.
So what I would do is I just wouldn't pray with her at the time. I would make sure that my spirit was right by myself, and then I would still say those prayers. So I would still pray all the time, several times a day. And it's been that way for as long as I can remember now.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, you brought that up, and I could say that on this podcast. I'm getting ready to get that back together.
Yes, sir.
Because that was something that I would always look forward to. And then even as a family, like when we would pray together, you know, I'd have my wife's hand, and then she'd have like wisdom's hand. I have knowledge hand on the other side. My son would be on the side of me, and my daughter would be on the other side of my wife. We all holding hands saying prayer.
Man.
You know, and I like that. So I'm glad we're having this conversation right now because, see, sometimes we need that kick in the pants, so to speak, to get right back on.
Absolutely.
Because I don't like starting something and not finishing all the way through with it. You know. Go ahead, young man. Relationship equity.
I think with relationship equity, I think
Give us something real, something that you've experienced, something that you know about.
when you say communication, I think that's the big thing, building up communicational skills. You know, and only way you can build it is by doing it, I believe.
How have you put equity in any relationship that you've had? Give us an example here.
I don't know. I would say equity. I think me as a man, me personally, I can't say for how another woman brought equity from her end.
No, I'm talking about you.
Me, I would say bringing in more money. I think bringing in more provision, more things that, because the thing is that I noticed that when I went in a position to provide, it kind of hindered the relationship. But when I was able to bring in things that could actually, you know, keep her in her submissive and her feminine more, you know what I mean, with her not having to provide anything, I think that increased the relationship value.
So let me ask you a question here, because we're going to get a little deep based on your response here. You ever been married?
No, I haven't been married.
So you're talking about bringing in more money to provide for this, that, and the other. Now we getting ready to get a little deep. You ready to get a little deep?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm finna break it down. And some people might not feel what I'm saying, but I'm going to keep it, as y'all say, I'm going to keep it a buck with you, right? Have you been in any relationships where you had already talked to the individual about possibly entertaining a marriage? Yes or no? Just yes or no?
Not a ton, no.
Then why would you feel like you need to provide for somebody else, and have not been in that type of a relationship where you were even entertaining the fact of marriage? Because a man's provisions, his coverings, should I say, his securities should be for his wife, not his girlfriend. See, that's how a lot of guys get used. So you just open up the door for another conversation here. A lot of guys get used for their resources. It's not your responsibility to get her hair, her nails done, and all those other different things. Now, I mean, you can do that if you want to, but then you're opening up the door. And see, like I said, when guys start leading out in the relationship with their wallet, what happens when that wallet runs short? Because you've already set a standard that shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Right.
Because again, a man's resources should be for his wife. See, that's what I'm saying. We got a lot of, and if this is not you, then no one should be offended. Because I'm talking to some fellas here, and we try to make sure we have the right understanding. See, that those responsibilities are for a man's wife, the things that he should provide.
Right.
It ain't talking about no girlfriends. Listen here. What if you with a woman and y'all together for 12 years and ain't never been married? Doing things that you shouldn't be doing in the first place, but you financing her with your pocket, your resources.
Right.
What is she pouring in? See, you want to put equity into your marriage. You want to put, and if you see that you are going to be married, there's nothing wrong with still pouring into that relationship as you get closer to that moment. But when you start out in a relationship and you start doing husbandly things for a wife that's not a wife, should I say, a woman that's not a wife, then you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you really doing? That means you're draining your resources. Right. What if the relationship don't work? Say y'all been together for 12 years, ain't never gotten married, this, that, and the other. And you've been, say, on a monthly basis, month after month, year after year, you providing this, that, and the other and all that. But then, for whatever reason, one day maybe you ain't good enough for her. She's moved on. Right. How you going to feel at that point? You're going to feel like you were used, right? But hold on. You can't be used if you're doing it willfully. Right. That means you were just a simp. You was a sucker. Right. Now I know somebody's going to get offended because I'm telling the truth.
No, you bring out a very...
Some woman is going to be offended because I'm telling the truth. And like I say, my thing is to help relationships that are leading to a marriage or those that are already married. I'm not pro somebody just financing another individual in their relationship, because she's her own individual and you're your own individual. Right? That's just like, say, some people might entertain living together. And let's say the woman is living with the man and the man is paying the bills and they ain't married and she ain't even got to have a job because you're giving her an allowance. Or maybe she got a job, but her money is like her money and your money is y'all's money and y'all not married. There's different scenarios. There's scenarios where a woman might be helping pay the bills, but then y'all just playing house. And if you're playing house, why not be married? Right. Why is it that sometimes people get in a relationship where they're good enough to lay down with one another, but not good enough to be married? Why multiply transgression after transgression after transgression and then turn around and pray to the Almighty?
You bring out a good point.
How can you put in equity in that type of relationship? Because that's not good equity. We just gonna keep it a buck, right?
Yeah.
So that equity should be things that's going to keep that relationship standing, keep that relationship running. You know, it could be something that's being really polite, but that's just who you are. You know, if your woman fix your food, your wife fix your food and bring it to you, saying thank you. Not just like you automatically expect it so you don't say thank you. Right. A lot of times, guys, believe it or not, with me, and I believe with men in general, but I can't speak for every man, with me, it's the little things that count.
Always.
It's those little things that count. Because I'm not going to necessarily be expecting anything big. Right. Those little things are a big thing to me. But if in your relationships, if you don't get the little things, why would you expect something big? Check this out. And this is for any woman that might be watching right now. If you are a woman who argues with your, this for married women. If you're a woman who argues with your husband, I mean, just for any reason, okay? And this is just for women in general. I want you to think about this right here. Instead of being, because a lot of times a man may say something to a woman with good intentions, but she just received it the wrong way. And I have to say this because, again, men and women communicate 100% differently. Would you agree with that? Mm-hmm. We communicate differently. So say if she didn't like the way something was said, or maybe it was a trigger or anything, and this is just in general in any marriage or relationship. If a person has an attitude or they want to argue, and then they find that those relationships just don't work out, and say the individual, the woman, end up not being able to keep a relationship because of the arguing and just not even just the arguing, just the disagreeing. You know what I'm saying? They're not in harmony together. She don't necessarily want to do certain things or whatnot that's going to be conducive to having a good, productive relationship. Because in a lot of cases, women have been told that they're the prize, right? But a lot of women want what they might call an high value man.
Okay.
And when I'm talking about high value, I ain't just talking about high on morals or this, that, and the other. I'm talking about strictly monetary at this point right here. And that's not all women, okay? But a lot of women want a man who's making at least 6 figures. But I'm not talking about women that are talking about being married. If she wants to argue and she wants to not take instruction, and so it never works out for her because she's uncooperative, then I have to ask, how do you feel after that? Now ask me, what do I mean, how do you feel? When you all by yourself, and you're getting older, and you ain't got nobody there with you, and you're growing old by yourself, and maybe had to go buy a pet or something like that, was it worth it? To have all the attitude and want to argue all of the time or whatnot. Was it worth it? And I'm saying this to show that it's not going to get you what you want, because you're projecting, when you do that masculine energy.
Yeah.
And when you stay in your femininity, I'm telling you, women, you just don't even understand the power of your touch when you have a good insight, a good spirit.
The touch alone.
When you have, you know what I'm talking about? Just the power of your touch, the tone of your voice. You just being cooperative and show that you're on the same side, that you support your husband. You support that person that you plan on being married to or whatnot. That's going to get you just about everything that this man can possibly give you. He's going to want to do it because you're going to deserve it.
Yeah.
Without manipulation.
Yeah.
Because, see, I know a lot of manipulation tactics that women use. You don't even have to do that. Men are simple. When you're good with that man, I promise you, when you're right, if he can afford it, he do whatever he can for you.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see that smile on your face and see you happy. See, understand this. A woman can't make a man happy and a man can't make a woman happy. We can only add to that happiness. Women, you can add to our happiness. Men, we can add to your happiness. But an individual, regardless of whether you're male or female, have to be happy within yourself, period. And a person that loves to argue, that may have come from an environment that was not the best environment, let's say a toxic type environment, because I've heard that expression, sometimes we become a product of our environment. That could be community, it could be home, just what you're around. So when you're around certain things that are not conducive to anything positive, what we need to do is start removing ourselves from that, so we can practice being productive. Make sense?
Period.
Because it's going to help us with our relationships. And that's for men as well. Yeah. If a man wanted to be argumentative all the time, maybe because he got something going on the side, so he got to make an argument so he can get up out the house because he want to go be with his side piece or whatever. That's a destructive relationship already, because he's not being honest. And a lot of times people get into relationships and they have no intention on being right because they have a different agenda. You got men that want to rack up bodies. You got females that want to rack up bodies. Everybody has their own agenda. And I'm not talking about all men and all women. I'm not saying that at all. But people have to vet. I keep saying, you got to vet that individual that you're really interested in. You don't want to just build up relationship equity with anybody. You don't want to just marry anybody. Like I said before, every man is not marriage material. And likewise, every woman is not marriage material.
You're right.
Tell me some of the qualities that you find to be appealing to a man when he's looking for a wife. Just some of the qualities.
Is she nice? Does she know how to speak to me correctly? Her anger.
Now hold on, because some women, when you say that, what do you mean? Speak to him correctly.
Oh,
break it down.
Yes, sir. That's a big requirement for me.
I would say for men in general.
Yeah,
for me as well.
For sure. That's something that could just be a complete turn off if you don't know how to express yourself in a way that's proper, especially depending on if we're in a public setting or if we're in a private setting. Both are very important to me. But definitely in a public setting, if we're out somewhere and you don't even know how to use the correct terminology, you know what I mean? You using profanity or you talking like, you know what I mean, like your mama didn't teach you how to, you know what I mean, communicate properly. Those things to me, and when you address me, that's probably my biggest pet peeve. The way that you talk to me will let me know how you truly feel about me. Point blank, period.
I think that's standard. I think that what you got to say on that, young man. I know you say you haven't been married or anything, but we're trying to, we have to know what's good for a marriage and what's not good for a marriage and what those deal breakers might be. And see, and this is good because women need to know certain things, especially if they want to be a wife.
Right.
And again, like we said, the highest honor outside of being a queen that a woman can attain to is what? To be a man's wife.
Right.
And everybody don't get married. And a lot of times we have to consider there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. There's a lot of women that'll get was cuffed up real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. There's a reason they get cuffed up real quick. But it's got to go. It's got to change.
You got a good point.
They get cuffed up real quick.
Yeah, you bring out a good point.
And they ain't got to be the best.
Real quick. Listen to me, man. No, they don't have to be the best looking. You know what I'm saying? That spirit, the way they are.
That's right.
The way they are. I ain't saying she's gonna be bad looking or anything, but I'll tell you, I'd rather have I'd rather have an average woman, you know, that's pleasing to me. You see what I'm saying? And her spirit is right.
That's right.
Her spirit is right. To have that spirit of oneness and everything. And sometimes you got to work towards that. You see what I'm saying? Because you might have a man and a woman who both go into a relationship and both of them might be all bent up. You see what I'm saying? But when you work together and you appreciate what you have, she appreciate what she has, and you appreciate what, and then you just humble one another. You see what I'm saying? And it makes all the difference.
It's deep. It's deep what you're saying because it's like from.
Well, hold on. Check this out though. I just said certain women get cuffed up real quick, right?
Right.
But what about those that don't? There's a reason for that too.
Right.
There's a reason. But it's up to those people that are involved to find out, to do self-examinations and say, why haven't anybody, say like if a person's been with X amount of men in their lifetime or whatnot and are not married or haven't been married.
Right.
Then there has to be a point when we examine ourselves as women and ask, why has not a man even proposed to me? And then men have to be honest with themselves as well.
Yes, sir.
And ask, why has he not, he's been with women, why has he not even attempted to be married? There could be several reasons. Maybe he's selfish. Maybe he don't want to just be with one woman. Maybe he's thinking that he would rather just deal with a bunch of different, see, and that's a warped mindset.
Traumatized.
That's not, and trauma plays a part for males and females, believe it or not.
It's just trauma.
A lot of time, in most cases,
hurt. Like, you know, because like you said, men love hard, and you said
you gotta talk where they can hear you. You gotta talk where they can hear you.
It's just that, you know, from a male perspective, to have that female rotation, sometimes it can fall into trauma. And that, I think that comes with mental health and also getting therapy. But truth be told is that, like you said before, men love hard. And when they get their heart broke, it gets to a point where you don't want that to happen again. So you would rather have female friends that you just have a rotation with than having that one or that devoted energy that you're putting all into, and then it be just snatched from you after you made so much of an investment. And the thing is that it's like, I think a lot of men today in the modern lifestyle of today's time, they are saying that I would rather have a rotation than to get married in today's world, because it's just so many men have the pros ain't outweighing the cons. So that's a mental trauma, even though there's good women out there, even though there's wives out there, but from what they come bombarding and seeing and what they probably have experienced, they feel that, I don't want to take that chance anymore, or I don't even want to try to take that chance. You know what I mean? So I think, like what you were saying is just like trying to vet to see which one is worth it. But it's just hard because so many men are scared.
But you said something about rather having a rotation, right?
Right.
So let me ask you this. Because, see, a lot of times we don't consider. How can if I had a rotation of, say I'm not married, and I said I'd rather just have a rotation, keep it going. And me not even knowing that she got a rotation going too, but just even that rotation, just spreading disease and this, that, and the other, even in just having that rotation, having women play the part of the whore for me, how can I expect to be blessed by the Almighty? How can I expect to be prosperous? I mean, and I'm having to say that because I'm a spiritual person. Right? So knowing that, even if I was just at the beginning of my learning, and I knew that the Almighty hated that, but I'm dependent on the Almighty to bless me so that maybe I can find a good woman. If I'm making whores out of other women, why would I expect the Almighty to send me a good one?
Right. And that's
if anything, it seemed like I would end up with one that was going to destroy me, because my mission was obviously out to destroy women.
Right.
Because I wasn't meaning them no good if I'm just rotating them, right?
Very true.
But yeah, that's what I was saying when it comes to what the men are today. You know what I mean? This is the mindset of the young man today,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think this podcast, is beautiful that you bring it out, because it's getting what the world is today. Most people don't understand what's going on in the young woman's mind today, what's going on in the young man's mind, because they can't address the problem if they don't know what's going on in that young man's mind to help him get the best positive outcome. You know what I mean? And it's like right now with the young man is that he's in fear. He's trying to guard his heart so much that he don't want to, because, we all got egos, but we don't want to be shamed out in public. Like, oh, man, you dumped all this into a woman and then she played you, or, you know what I mean? So, of course, you feel like, oh, I want to have a rotation, then it's more acceptable. Or she do what she want to do, I'll do what I want. So it's a feel like, okay, I don't care. You know what I mean? So, it's like, that's what I think today the men don't know self. And I think that's what comes first before finding a wife.
Let me not to cut you off. Let me say this, because I got to say this. When you say they don't know self, no, when a man has that rotation, he don't know how to love himself. He don't know how to love himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I have to say that at this point. So I didn't want to necessarily. He don't know how to love himself because he's asking for the Almighty to deal with him. He's asking for that butt whooping.
Right.
See what I'm saying? See, the things we do that go against the Almighty show that we're not walking with the Almighty, and we're telling the Almighty, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
See, because if a man don't have any spirituality whatsoever, he's lost in the first place.
Right.
If he don't have any direction, how can he find himself?
Right.
Moe Alicia said years ago, if a man took you in the desert and blindfolded you, spun you around 3 times, and then took the blindfold off and tell you to go back where you came from, you're in the middle of the desert. You don't know where you came from.
That's right.
So if you don't have any direction and you want to be on a rotation, how would you feel if you found out that you was on a woman's rotation?
That's right, and that's the part of today's.
How would you feel though?
No, I'm saying this is the part that I'm just my whole thing. What I'm saying is today's young man mentality. It's not mine. It's my personal thing.
No, I'm understanding what you're saying, and I'm not you hypothetical. But what I'm saying is,
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care if you was on a woman's rotation?
No, because
so wait a minute.
It takes away. See, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I think is beautiful because you get the young man's perspective on things.
You wouldn't care.
The young man don't care.
Okay, now let's just switch it over. You're single. If you found out that you were interested in a woman that you might have been thinking to propose to, and you found out that you're on an extensive type rotation or whatnot.
Yeah.
Even with 1, 2, 5, how many ever? How would that make you feel?
Like I said, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't be looking for a woman that had a rotation.
You didn't know, you just found out.
But that's what I'm saying. Like truth be told, like
would you feel like you were used?
I would. To be honest with you, I wouldn't care. Cause look, that's her. That's her sin. That's her iniquity. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, regardless you got a rotation or not, and I'm gonna stand out of how I do. You know what I mean? So if she the type of woman that want to do that, that's my fault for choosing that type of woman. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have been. It's like you said. My thing is that I take accountability on all places.
You wouldn't care you was in that rotation?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care about the possible diseases. Maybe she was with somebody that gave her something, or she gave somebody something, and it just goes around, and now your health is in a bad spot because you contracted something that you didn't expect because you thought that
I shouldn't have been laying with her.
You shouldn't have been laying with her. You shouldn't have been laying with her unless she was your what?
Wife. And that's what I'm saying. So anything that she do, that's her. So anything that happens is and is from me is because I allowed it. If I gave her anything, money or any monetary thing, that's because I wanted her to have it. Now, if her using me, that's in her mind. But in the mindset of me, I'm doing it because I was gonna do it regardless or whatever. You ain't using me because if I didn't want you to have it, you wouldn't have got it.
You think that's the mindset of a lot of young people today?
And that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm asking you that question because I'm trying to confirm. Did you say that's the modern mindset today?
Well, the modern mindset, now, from me taking away me personally, and now I'm going back to the young man of the day. Right. The young man of the day is that there's no accountability on both sides. So, since, say the young man that got his heart broke, or whatever, he don't care what this woman do. He just in there just trying to sleep with this young girl and keep the rotation and go get his money. But he ain't gonna get that girl a hot dog.
Check this out. Did I talk to you about what I was planning on speaking on today? Yes or no? Before I got here, did I speak to you about what I was gonna be teaching on today?
Right.
No, I'm asking you a question. Yeah. I told you specifically what I was going to be talking about. You know I was going to be talking about relationships. But here's what I'm getting at. He did not know that this was something. Read that. Because you're answering something that I wrote last night.
That's deep.
That's what I'm talking about. Read that out loud.
Men and women that are only interested in whoredom are the biggest issues in trying to build relationships / marriage.
And so you just described what one of the biggest issues are.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
As far as trying to, because that modern mindset, which you just stated,
right.
Those that just want to go out and get their freak on or get some here and then get some there that's not really interested in being in a marriage. Right. Those are the biggest issues. Those are the people that put themselves in a position where they most likely won't be married. Because the more they do that, the chances go lower and lower. We talked last week about dealing with a woman that had a high body count.
Right.
And then originally, I think you thought that 10 was a high body count.
No, that was brother.
That was you? Because 10 actually is a high body count.
Yeah,
but then when we got up to where we're talking about 40.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You see what I'm saying?
40, that's why I want the brothers that I was talking to, man. They think 40 is not realistic, but truth be told, 40 is the average.
Damn.
I wouldn't even say that's the average. I really wouldn't, because, like I say, if you get out there and you start just doing some research online, because they literally ask questions. You got guys out there like doing this here and talking to women, interviewing them and whatnot, and you don't have to do that right now, but you will find that there's numbers far higher than 40, and these are with younger people. And they're boasting on it, and these numbers are coming from females, because again, they're saying if guys can do it, and I'm not justifying guys doing it either. They say if it's good enough for men, and women are at the point to where they feel like they're being equal, they want to be equal to a man, right. And men and women will never be equal at all, period. But even trying to duplicate numbers, that's only going to put a woman in a position where a man is not necessarily going to want to look at her for marriage material. Now, I'm not saying all men. But the average man is not going to, when he find that out, that's just going to be nasty. Yeah. It's going to be nasty.
And it's so crazy that you said it, because most of our people are asleep to these realities and these truths. And you know, like you know, speaking with a lot of brothers that might be in 40 and up or whatever, they think that the world have not grown in wickedness, like the scriptures say that it's getting increasingly wicked. You know what I mean? But it's the norms. Like, this is the norm. This is what.
What do you do if you're actually? Are you seeking to have a wife?
I mean, yeah, but I want to right now. I'm gonna be truthful. I'm seeking to make myself a husband first.
And I like that answer. Before you even put yourself in that position, there's certain things that you should at least have. Can you tell me what a couple of those things are that you feel like you should have in place before you seek to find a wife?
I think the first thing I should seek to have is a vision, because I think from what I have seen, any female that I'm dealing with, I have no plan for her. So if I don't have no vision, then how can she help me for me? And that's what I learned. That was my mistakes.
After your vision, what should you have?
And then I should have a house. I should have resources coming in. And just like, you know, it speaks of Jeremiah 29, I should have some form of resources like my garden. In other words, ways to, you know, that's bringing in resources. And like I said, that vision, you know, my vision and provision, and also, you know, like the plan for her and a stable mind. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like you said, we traumatize, and I shouldn't bring that. A female shouldn't have to deal with my traumas. That's not her job to deal with my traumas. You know what I mean?
Is your job to deal with hers?
I think so.
Hold on, wait a minute. So you're saying that only you should work on getting you together, but she shouldn't work on getting her together?
I think she should, but anything is.
There's a but? Okay.
I ain't going to say but.
No, you just did. I ain't going to say the word but. Listen to me. Everybody, and see, I got that down on this page over here too. See, I'm telling y'all, because I had to really consider what's going on today. Let's see here, because I wrote this down. I sure did. I had down here that a lot of people, males and females, for the most part, believe it or not, do need some therapy. Right. But everybody's not going to be willing, you know, to go to somebody who's maybe not spiritual, who's going to tell them the right way, or just, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's not. So if you're not going to have therapy, then you have to kind of work with self. Know what your issues are and face your issues and work those issues out. See, you have to feel whole before you can be whole.
Right.
Before you can be right with somebody else, you got to be right with yourself.
That's right.
So the issues that we have, whether you be male or female, if you don't acknowledge them, you know you ain't right, but you're not going to acknowledge them. You got to acknowledge them. And likewise, the other person do too. Otherwise, it's not going to be a balance in that relationship.
Right.
Because if the woman has issues and the man has issues, say the woman works on her issues and she's making good progress, but the man didn't work on his issues.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's going to be an imbalance. And vice versa. If the man work on his issues, but the woman don't work on her issues, there's an imbalance.
Right.
So somebody's not going to be treated right. Somebody's not going to be talked to right. Somebody's going to be lacking.
Right.
So everybody has to do what they... If I acknowledge that I have a temper,
Right.
I have to learn how to control my temper. If I don't, then a lot of times we take that out on the one that we love, right? The one that's going to be the closest to us. That don't mean they deserve it. That means we haven't got our act together.
That's right. That's right.
And then a lot of times we'll project onto someone else. Well, it's your fault. You shouldn't have did this. You shouldn't have did. No. We communication is so important in any relationship. Hear what I'm saying? Whether it's a marriage, whether it's a business relationship, whether it's a friendship.
It's communication, rule of nation.
You must have good communication.
That's right. That's right.
And a lack thereof will destroy what a person is trying to build even before you can build it well. Sometimes men and women in certain situations have attitudes. It might be something that ain't got nothing to do with the relationship, but you have an attitude, then somebody that you love or claim to love say something to you, or vice versa, and then because it's the wrong time, or you just got some steam that you haven't let loose yet, then it goes on to that other person. And ain't nothing cool about that. See, we've become a product of our environment. A lot of things that we see in our communities that are abnormal, when you don't know no better, you see this going on all the time, so you just think that's normal behavior.
Right.
No, that's abnormal behavior, and so many people are doing certain things that they don't realize how, some maybe do realize how destructive it is. But you know how people might say, well, man, I'm from Avondale, or I'm from the west side, or I'm from over here. That's saying that the people in those areas, are a certain way. I'm from the zone. I'm from over here. Man, you know where I'm from? What?
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's stupidity.
Stupidity.
We have to learn how not to become a product of our environment, because when we come from unhealthy areas, or we come from an unhealthy household, or we come from and when I say unhealthy, meaning it just ain't right.
Right.
So we've experienced it for like a lot of years in the time that we grew up, and as we came into our manhood, or as a young lady came into her womanhood, she was still dealing with that. Those are like traits, just like we watched a video a little while ago where it said when the person's from the Bronx and they doing this and. No, if we allow a geographical location to dictate who we are, then we're weak.
Oof.
We're weak.
You said the right word too. That's weakness. Yeah.
Even scripture said we got to be strong and courageous.
That's right.
In order to walk in the right way in the light of Yah, we got to be strong, because it's too easy to walk away. Because they look like they're having fun over here, and they look like they're having fun over there, but the things they're doing are corrupt, immoral. They're a violation of the Most High's policies.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
But if we're going to walk right with Yah, that means we got to be right. That means we got to put in the work.
You're right.
Man, being a Hebrew Israelite is a birthright.
That's right.
Damn.
It's who we are. You can't run from it.
Right.
So even if a person walk away from a sanctuary and say, I ain't going there because those people ain't right, what that person is saying, everybody wrong and he's or she's the only one right. So we have a responsibility. You said yesterday that we're imposing, you didn't say it like that, but that's what it broke down to, When we go against the Almighty, we're imposing our will on the Almighty. Now, who the hell do I think I am that I can impose my will on the Almighty?
That's right. That's right.
So if I want to get out here and lay with all these different women and violate all his laws and everything, you know what they tell me? I don't know how to love myself. And if I don't know how to love myself, I shouldn't even be entertaining the marriage or the relationship with anybody. Because if I can't trust myself to be right, how can I get offended at somebody else when they're not right with me?
That's right. That's correct.
How can I get offended if a woman project masculine energy onto me and I ain't right myself?
That's right.
So first thing we got to do, we got to lose the attitude. We got to learn how to be humble. That's the only way we're going to survive.
That's right.
We got to learn to be humble. As a matter of fact, the Almighty said He's going to teach the meek. If we ain't got an ounce of meekness in us, what's going to make us want to keep His law so that we can be productive and prosperous? Relationships, man, without one, that means we're going to die alone. I don't want to die alone not feeling like nobody loved me because I don't know how to love nobody. That's why I said, don't be afraid to let somebody go at the beginning. When you start seeing somebody and you see that it's not going well, or maybe you see you're not treating her right because of a reason, don't lead her on. Let her go, so maybe somebody will see her in the light, because she might have a good light. It might be my light or your light or somebody, it might be the guy's light that's dim. It might be us that's not seeing right.
That's deep.
And a lot of times people project their own insecurities onto somebody else.
That's right. That's deep. That's deep.
So we have to consider all these things, man, when we're actually trying to build a relationship. You know, when your relationship, like with your significant other, is sort of like a team, like with me and my family, Team Israel, that's a win-win situation.
Right. That's beautiful.
But when that one individual just want that individual to be the team, I'm the team, that's a lose-lose situation. In other words, that husband and that wife, they work together. That's that team.
Yes, sir.
It's okay, even though the man's the head of the house, it's okay to discuss things with your wife. Hell, she might have a better idea on how to do something. For example, my wife might have a better idea on how to do something than myself.
That's right.
That don't mean I got to go with what I was going to do anyway because I'm the man. No. Baby, that's what we're going to do. I like what you just said there.
That's humble. And it's just.
And it's just because we want what's going to be best.
Yeah, the best result.
The best possible result. And like I say, it's okay to have standards. But ladies, sometimes some of the women's standards are just so daggone ridiculous. You know, like a woman might be like 5'2", but she says she want a man that's over 6 feet. So that means anybody under 6 feet is just automatically disqualified as not being a good man that's good enough for her.
That's not even wise.
Exactly, because of a height requirement or something. Or
I had a question on that. Do you think that that's more of a feeling situation? Because it's a lot of females that they claim to say that, and then a guy that ain't that height still can get them.
Check this out. Here's what it comes down to from my understanding. A big part of it, a woman tend to think that a man that's bigger and heavier and taller will be able to protect them better than someone that's smaller or whatnot. But I've seen things where a big guy gets scared. The big guy gets scared and he's like screaming, sounding like sounding kind of feminine there, and running. I've seen big guys who scared of little bugs and insects and spiders and whatnot. I've seen practical jokes where a woman would do something and a guy don't know he's been set up, and his response was like, "Oh my goodness."
Do you think that's more feeling based? Though, because it
is.
Because if you can make her feel protected, do you think that height thing will go out the door, or do you think a certain persona or whatever, her thinking like, oh, I gotta have this to have this type of outcome. If I can bring that feeling to that female, do you think that throws that out?
I think that's a myth, and I think that depends on that particular individual. I think it depends on that woman. I'm not a very tall guy. Matter of fact, I already started to shrink as I got older. I used to be 5'7.5", and I know it, barefoot, 67.5 inches. With the little piece on those old physician scales you put on your head, I knew exactly how tall I was. Several years ago, we in the gym, and I was locking up, and the scale was right beside the door leading to the outside, and somebody had already set it up to 5'7.5", and the last person had already left out the gym. So I kind of chuckled when I saw it. I took my shoes off, turned around backwards, and got up under there, and it didn't touch my head. That's when I realized that I had shrank. Now I don't know how tall I am now, but I'm not 5'7.5" inches. And I count my half too, but I feel good, and I'm married now, and I'm good with my marriage. But I've dated women that were over 6 foot. Yeah, over 6 foot tall.
Me too.
I've literally
But that's what I'm saying. That ain't never been no issue. And
I was sure
that's like
it was never an
I've
issue.
been with women that's way super tall, like like you said, like 5'10", 6 foot. I done short, small. All of them. Ain't even know. That's never been no problem.
It's never been an issue for me. It's never been an issue. And then when you got somebody that's already 6 foot tall and they like to wear heels too, so we would be like this right here sometimes. I can remember years ago going to a party over there at Woodline Park, over there, and standing on one of those, those little. When you get ready to park your car, you got that big long block there. I'm standing on one of those in front of her, leaning up on her. Right. When I was still shorter. I can laugh at that because, it's cool. But the thing is, we want to help, like I said, we want to help build those relationships. And again, you got to vet the individuals, men and women. You got to vet them, especially for a man. You got to make sure that woman is really into you for you and not for what you can do. Right. You see, like you said, that you sponsor. That's pretty much what, like some of them songs say, to tell a woman to go out and get a sponsor. and you said, and he said, well, choose me. You don't want to do that because you're only going to be a sponsor until she find a better sponsor for that particular type of woman. I'm not talking about all women are like that, but for that particular type of woman, you're going to just be a sponsor because some women out here, they just have multiple guys that they're using to finance their lifestyle.
That's right.
Damn.
But look, this is what I peeped though. It's so crazy is that like they in their sisterhood, right? They take it like, say for instance, they've been hurt. Say that attachment that they had or that imprint that they had before hurt them. So they want to take their vengeance out on other men to look for these so-called sponsors or whatever. Like, truth be told, it's like I seen, because I grew up around a lot of women, so it's like I've been in a lot of conversations with women, and it's like it blows my mind on the conversations that they have. And the thing is that, I get Joe and Joe to give me this, I get so-and-so to give me that, and it's like their whole energy is to attack men because I guess it's the F-N words. You feel me? Like, it's the whole persona. Like, N words ain't this and that. So it's like their whole thing is to attack men.
Well, listen, let me address that. All men are not good men. There are a lot of dog type guys out there that will deal with a woman and not have any good intention. Right. That's the reason women need to really pay attention to the person or persons that they call themselves entertaining, or like the Tyrones and the Pookies and whatnot. When women are younger, remember how I talked about how women love emotional variety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what I mean by that. I have to say this at this time because a lot of times women will get with this so-called guy that they deem to be cute or this different or this that rebel type guy or whatnot because it's different for them. Right. And that particular type guy may not have their best interest at heart. Right. You see what I'm saying? He's just like a lot of women might be out there for a good time, this, that, and the other. But when women are younger, that's when their sexual marketplace value is higher. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? If a man is looking for a wife, he wants to get a wife, I would say somewhere between the ages of maybe 20, 21, up to maybe 26, 27, 28 years old. That way, if they want to have some children, right, then she has time to have those children before she gets older. And you see what I'm saying? Say if he want to have 2 or 3 children or 4 children. You see, but during that time, most women have been told, go out, live your life, have fun, do this, that, and the other. So what they're doing when they do that, some, not all, they end up being with this person and this person and this person, and it takes their value down, and they don't necessarily realize that. Let's say for some men, because all men are not going to be the same. So I'm saying for some men, and that would even hold true to be with me. Because like I've said, I wouldn't necessarily, not for me, I would not necessarily want to be with somebody who has a large number of people that she's been with, because then I know for that woman, it's going to be very difficult for her to pair bond with me.
That's true.
Because there's going to be too many comparisons. I'm not this person. I'm not that person. I'm not here. I'm not there or whatever. You see what I'm saying? That's why it was meant in the beginning for a woman to be a virgin. When a woman is married and she's not been with any man, she has a likelihood of a long, healthy, good relationship in her marriage. Right. But the more individuals that a woman has been with, that takes away from the possibility of having that long relationship. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be in every single case, but it's not going to be the norm. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
You got a comment down here.
Yes.
Right here.
Read it to me.
Jessica Hickman. It's all about the caliber of women you want. You have to have your wants in line with your expectations.
I 100% agree. That's the reason I said when a person is vetting a woman, when you see that there's certain things that you don't want, don't lead that woman on. Don't. It's better to let somebody go as you're trying to see what it is that you really want than to have them in there and have them thinking that your intentions are different than what they actually are. Yeah. Let them go, so because it may be somebody who are interested in them or who may become interested in them. Right. If a guy is not interested in marrying a woman, don't lead her on and make her think that there's hope when you know that that's not what your intention is going to be in the first place. Because it's not fair to her. So I definitely agree with you 100%, Jessica. 1,000%. That's the reason I say it's so important for individuals, man and woman, to take their time. If a man is come up to a woman and he's introducing himself and he's talking in a way, bless you, and he's talking in a way to where he's maybe interested in this young lady, then she should make sure that he's not pressing her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if a guy is pressing her, that means he probably have a different agenda.
Right.
If he's trying to really get to know her, he's going to want to take his time. So I advise both parties, please don't go too fast. Don't move fast. And ladies, if you see that somebody don't have the right intentions, go ahead and let them know that you're not interested. However you need to put it, but be kind. And likewise, guy, if the fella feel like that's not the type of person or the person that he wants to be joined with, then let her go. Don't lead her on.
Do you believe that men and women can have a platonic friendship or be friends?
Yeah, but I will say this, and I'm going to speak as a man. and I've spoken with other men about this. Sometimes in relationships, women, you can put it in the chat if you agree with what I'm saying. A woman may have male friends that she put in the so-called friend zone, but I don't know if a lot of these women know that man or those men that are in the friend zone do have, in a lot of cases, have aspirations of being with that particular woman that he's in the friend zone with.
Right.
But if a woman puts you in the friend zone, she don't really have any real intention of being with you in that intimate way. Now, I'm not gonna say it don't happen sometimes that they end up being that way, but a lot of times guys are just waiting on the sideline. You might be telling him about the date that you didn't have with different people, but he's still laying there waiting, thinking that one day that there's hope. And that's, no, dude, you're in the friend zone for a reason. Because a lot of times, and ladies, just if I'm right about this, just let them know that I'm right about it. You might be the one to where maybe she need a ride to go here and there. So a lot of times, and again, not in all cases,
Right.
but you're that fallback person. She might need you for this, or she might need you for that. So she'll keep you around. But if you're in the friend zone, she's not necessarily interested in lying with you. Now, do it happen sometimes? It probably do. But that's not going to be the norm there.
Why do you think that women have a double standard with male friends than female friends? Or even though, we still on the spiritual side, but even with the modern women have so-called homosexual friends, right? And they treat these two categories better than the so-called man friend. Because like I said, I grew up around women. So a lot of my, experiences seeing how they operate, they'll go out to a club, right? A woman would share the bill.
Standard?
Yeah, like
what do you mean? I'm trying to understand.
Like a double standard. In other words, they treat different the male friend outside of the female or the homosexual friend. And I'm gonna give you an example. Well, if you look at how when girls go out, right,
mm-hmm.
they all share the bill. Matter of fact, the one girl might pay for this girl one day, and the other girl might pay for the next girl one day.
Okay.
Or even with the homosexual, homosexual friend, they'll share the bill with the homosexual
mm-hmm.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
But say if the male friend that they so-called male friend or whatever, they expect him to pay. And it's, I mean.
Well, here's the thing. If I was single and I asked a woman out on a date, I should pay.
Not even dating. I'm talking about straight up. We agreed to be in the friend zone.
Oh, but you're in the friend zone, but you're gonna pay?
That's exactly what I'm screaming.
Then you're a sucker.
But that's what I'm saying.
You're a sucker.
But that's what I'm saying is like, if you look at the friend, if you look at a male if you look at the male in the friend zone, right? And then you got women, and they got women friends, and you got even, like I said, the homosexual or whatever, and that they friends. They treat these group better than the so-called male friend zone guy.
Yeah, because they're gonna relate to the homosexual more on the feminine side than a man that's gonna be on the masculine side. But that's self-explanatory right there.
But that's what I'm saying.
But then you see a lot of people with gay friends. And I mean, you can be friends with who you want to be friends with or whatnot. So I'm not going to condemn somebody for having I'm not condoning homosexuality, don't get me wrong. But a woman is going to relate to a gay person in a feminine way.
Right.
Because a lot of these gay guys are feminine acting. You see what I'm saying? So, of course.
But I'm like, they literally treat them better than the male friend.
Man, let me tell you something. Even in regular relationships, you're going to find some people who are going to treat you better than others. People are going to do what they want to do, and they're going to feel the way they want to feel. And like I say, everybody's going to view the world through their own lenses. So that's just certain things that we don't necessarily have to agree with, but we're going to have to accept that it is now a reality.
Period.
It's now a reality. So, are there any questions by way of the
About
internet
the
there?
chat? We don't have any questions right now. No questions. I had a few questions though.
Well, bring them on. Bring them on.
What is a deal breaker in a marriage? Things you cannot come back from, man or woman.
Well, I share with you guys what loyalty is, and sometimes people think loyalty is just not cheating. Loyalty is when you riding with that person till the wheels fall off. You know, you gonna always work things out. But let's take that other aspect when you said what a deal breaker is. A deal breaker for me, and this would be a main deal breaker, and understand this here. Men and women cheat, right? But it takes a good character not to go out of your out on your marriage. When a woman that is married, this would be a deal breaker for me. When a woman that is married, and check this out, before a woman actually leaves you physically, she's already left you emotionally. If a woman entertains another guy, right? If she's emotionally involved with him, that's a deal breaker. Ain't no coming back from that. However, if she allows, no, seriously, if she becomes emotionally involved with another man and she's a married woman, right, then there's no coming back for that, because that's going to be actually worse. Now, let's get to this that makes it even worse than that. If a man's wife allows another man to conquer her, because women decide who they lay with, men provide access to marriage. So if you have a woman who is married and she has allowed herself to let another man conquer her body, for me in a marriage as a man, my thought is you could never. Now I'm not in that position, praise the Almighty Yah. But that no. You can never
praise the mighty
Yah. You can no, for real. Because that for me, think about this right here. That would be a death sentence.
Oh yeah.
Really.
That's right.
So I could never, I'm talking about me, Yemuel Mordecai Israel, would never, no. So any man that is married and his wife has let another man conquer her, feel what I'm saying, understand what I am saying. She's allowed another man access to her body. Ain't no coming back from that.
Now, if a man would come back from that, is he a simp?
Well, I'm not going to say what another man, because that's going to be on that man. But I'm like this. If that's a death sentence from the Almighty, you know.
Breaking the law.
But when we talking about adultery, let me give you a good example of what I'm talking about. I've always said we put the cart before the horse, right? And a woman ideally should have been a virgin before she was married, right? So say we've already messed up. So I can't talk about, like, if a man marry a woman and she's been with other guys prior to him, we can't talk about that. We can't throw that up in her face. We've done things most likely. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That was before me. Even though we might not like it, whatever. But that was before me. That's before you. However, during the time that we're married, I would rather a woman leave me and do whatever than to do that while we're together. Because for me, I can only speak for me. At that point, you ain't nothing to me. Yeah. Because you allowed this. You invited this to happen. Now, I can't speak for all men. You might feel differently about that. So you ask that question. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the Almighty say at that point you have to have enough courage and, I'm going to say, mental fortitude to let that woman go. And the reason I say that is because number one, what she did is a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just speaking on this aspect, not the deal breaker aspect. We talk about the adultery aspect right now.
Okay, because that's the deal breaker. The adultery, that's the deal breaker for me. I'm saying that's the deal breaker. See, I can work through, because again, in a marriage, you're going to go through some things. And you have to be strong enough and learn how to work those things out, because the goal is to get that relationship that's going to be lasting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to throw something else out there, too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, we laugh about it, but a lot of men go through these things. A lot of women.
That's what we're talking on.
You know what I mean?
That's what we're talking
thing
on.
that goes on. So, let's say we dealing with, we talking about traditional marriages and relationship. That's the standard, right?
Right.
But of course, we don't have that out here today for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So, let's say that a man was cheating on his wife, quote unquote, cheating on his wife, right?
Okay.
And a woman decides, oh, okay. Let's say these two people are together. Let's say they even married. Let's take that. Let's say they married. Let's say the man, he cheats on his wife. And let's say the woman, she finds out, and she goes out and she cheats on him. Is it the man's fault?
Well, some people ain't gonna like my answer on this right here, but I'm gonna keep it with the book, all right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm not gonna say being a whoremonger is a good thing, because it's not. And I understand that laws and traditions are completely different here in the West than in our culture. Because I have to say that because a lot of people always talk about, well, our culture.
Right.
No, that's on that woman right there.
Dang.
That's on that woman, because a man can have more than one wife. It's not a law. But even if he's not married to another wife, I don't want to minimize, he's been a whoremonger. If a woman goes out and do that, one of our women, no, she's been an adulteress. Now, don't let that man go out and lie with another man's wife, then he's an adulterer. You see what I'm saying? But if he's dealing with a single woman, or if he's dealing with a widow or something, again, I'm not justifying this.
What if he dealt with a woman that had a boyfriend?
If he's dealing with a woman that had a boyfriend, well, see, here's the thing. He's still being a whoremonger, because if she had a boyfriend, that woman is not that other man's wife. You see what I'm saying? And even scriptures say you don't want to deal with anything, don't covet nothing that belongs to your neighbor. So he's coveting somebody's girlfriend. You see what I'm saying? But obviously, she everybody's girlfriend at that point.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
On that same thing, is it a sin for a woman to covet if she's married? Because we had a conversation on the House of Israel. I think was it last year you brought that up?
Oh yeah,
two different laws. I mean, it was a big uproar. This is before you came, right?
Well, since you brought it up, give it to me and tell me what you said.
Well, no, I just when we was reading the 10 Commandments, I was saying that those commandments was primarily to the men of the house. And the reason I said that, because when you look at that law of thou shalt not covet, that was pertaining to only a man. You know what I'm saying? Now, a sister.
It's okay for a woman to desire for a man to pick her up, because like a man, and there was a story in the scriptures pertaining to this too. It's okay for a woman to want to be another man's wife. Do you see what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, okay. Say if she's already married though.
Okay, you talking about the case where this woman was married to a fool, and she had was that David she was talking to? David talking about, remember? Yeah. Remember me? He came back and he got her. You see, Nabal, the Almighty took care. Man, it's. But what I would advise people to do is start out with one.
What he talking about is it wrong for another woman to covet another woman's husband?
The desire.
Say if it was you mind if I use you as an example? You get what you saying.
I'm already on it.
All right.
And I'm gonna have to say, culturally,
right,
that would not be out of order.
Right.
Here, because things are completely different, and first of all, let me say, seek the peace of the city and pursue it. You see what I'm saying? I'm answering your question, but I'm answering this question only because I wouldn't advise it. Because in this land here, people, the mindset is different. It's not a traditional mindset, as you stated.
Yes,
it's a modern mindset. And we don't want anybody to become injured because they're trying to cover something. Now, if under different circumstances, that wouldn't be a problem.
All right, let's say this happened in the house of Israel, though. How should the elders? Since the elders were the judges a lot of the times, and the priests, of course. But when you didn't have a priest, we had our elders. How would you judge that matter?
All right. Well, honestly, I would.
But they didn't sleep together. Let's just say
That's what I'm saying.
Let's just say this woman desired to have this man, but this man was married, but she.
It's just like the Songs of Solomon.
I got you. That's not an ideal situation, but I'm going to answer to the best of my ability here. I understand that the customs and things in this land is completely different. I also understand that we have men in this land who've had more than one wife at a time. I don't know necessarily the outcomes of their relationships, but I know in some cases it has worked for a limited amount of time. I think over a period of time, some of those relationships may have deteriorated. I definitely wouldn't necessarily advocate for them. However, a woman would not, a Hebrew traditional woman with a traditional mindset would not be out of order, I would say, for desiring another woman's husband. Okay. I would advise, if that was a situation, that to make it easier, I think that woman who desired the woman's husband should maybe speak to that wife and say something to her in a way of what was on her mind, just to see what that vibe would be or that energy would be from that woman that she approached.
That's wisdom.
That would be the right thing to do. That's and wisdom. Understanding that you might not get a positive response. No, I'm serious. But I would advise, before that woman even said anything to that man, I would advise that woman to be a woman and speak to the other woman to see what. And most likely that answer is going to be, oh, hell no. Most likely. But if that was going to be done, I would advise her not to try to be sneaky about it. You see what I'm saying? I would advise her to speak with that woman, and knowing what that outcome might be, even when she speaks to that woman. But if she was going to be persistent on trying to pursue that, go through that woman first, and then approach the man afterwards. The man might say, "Hell no." You see what I'm saying? But give that woman that courtesy, because we're not in our own land at this time.
Seek peace.
And there you go. And you want to seek peace.
That's good.
So you definitely wouldn't want to have that issue.
Now, would the woman be out of line if she never communicated that to the man? Let's say the woman did go to the woman like, "Hey, I'm kind of interested in your husband," and she like, "Hell no," right? And you never knew about that though. You know what I mean?
Because the wife never said anything. She wouldn't be out of line.
You don't think so? Okay.
I don't think she would be out of line.
Okay.
She handled that situation. And a
It
good
takes
wife,
a strong man to say that too.
And a good wife is going. You know what I'm saying?
I
would honestly, I would have to say that with my wife. If another woman was interested in me, not that I'm interested in having another woman.
What's so much wisdom in he's saying that.
I'm going to tell her to, because I already know what I'm going to do in the long run. I'm going to tell that woman, "Hey, you need to speak to my wife on that."
Bro, that's wisdom what he said, bro. Because you want to make sure that even if you do take on another wife, that these two women can get along.
Right.
So it was wise for him to say, like, let's talk to my wife.
Yeah. Even if I'm not interested.
But that's what I said. I had a couple conversations with some elders, and they was against. They were saying that a woman can covet, but I was like, according to scriptures, that's not so.
Well,
I don't think it's against the law to covet. It's more of an offense for a man to be like, hey, yeah, man, I want your wife, man. But a woman to be like, I desire you. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm saying. That ain't against the law.
See, here's the thing. If you got a nice house and I think I like your house, hey, man, you know where a house is that's similar to this right here? Because I like your house. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to covet. If you got a nice car.
Right.
Hey, man, where'd you buy your car? I like that.
There you go.
You see, let me get my own.
There you go.
I shouldn't desire to have yours.
That's
If
what
I
I'm
ask you if
saying.
it's for
So,
sale and you say no, then I shouldn't devise a way to try to get it.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
And that's what I'm saying. From the female side, though, is like, even though we saying that, you know, another house or whatever, but even though like that's not a law for her. You get what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, people say, yeah, that's her. She can't cover no other man. How you gonna want my man and whatever?
Here's the thing.
But we don't belong to no female. How you gonna say
The wife belongs
this
to
my
us,
man? That don't make no sense.
Well, see, here's the thing. A lot of times, just like you said, we're dealing with modern mindsets. And you don't want to upset that modern mindset if you're happy.
So you don't want to upset the
I mean, if you're happy, you know what I'm saying. If you're happy in a relationship, you don't want to rock that boat.
That modern mindset.
That modern mindset
That
is
modern
strong.
mindset.
For me, though, for me, I can only speak for me. I'm a traditional man.
Yeah.
I'm a traditional man
Right.
because I don't see a modern mindset that's going to adhere to the Almighty's law willfully.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because the mindset here in this country, even on the dollar, they say, quote unquote, in God we trust. No, they don't.
Right. Right.
Yeah, which God they trust? Like,
There's a separation between church and state.
that's
Yes,
right.
it is.
You know, man, listen, they don't want, because if that was the case, and trust and believe that this man know who the Almighty really is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He knows. It's the people that don't know.
That's right.
How in the heck you gonna be able to cut down an old tree and look at the rings and tell how old the daggone tree is and shoot beams to the moon and tell certain things, but you don't know who the people of Israel are? Come on.
That's right.
You can go to Rome and you see all the artifacts and everything there. This don't be fooled. This man know who you and I are.
That's right.
He knows.
Period.
He just don't want the people to know who they are.
That's right.
Because if the people would wake up and realize who they are, do you know how powerful in itself that would be?
Yes, man. I was just talking about that.
The amount of people that would take heed.
Oh,
You got a bunch that ain't gonna take, but the amount of people that would take heed, the amount of people that might start just keeping the Sabbath day, that would shut this economy down. If the people just kept the Sabbath day. You know how much money they make on the weekend on these folly days?
Right.
Some of these stores could close down and then open up the last week before Xmas
Yeah.
and make a bunch of money.
That's right.
But you can be in your own community and you open up a store and have a hard time making $100 a day.
It's deep what you say that though, because it's like you said, knowing who we are and our power, man. Because like even when we look at these sort of relationships on the law, right? The female power and the male power, but like building, you said it yourself. It's just building up the household, following the laws. That's to me. Understanding our power and who we are, that's why I think our relationships fail out of all the relationships in the world. We got the worst. We got the worst divorce rate. We got the worst marriage rate. We have the
We're
worst.
the least married.
We have the
Our
worst
black women-
children born out of
You hear
wedlock.
me? Our black women are the least married, but we divorce at a 33% higher rate than any other nationality.
And the worst marriages, births and marriage. We got more bastard children born out of wedlock than any other community.
40% of women go into a marriage. The number might be higher at this point because it's an old statistic, but it was 40% of women that goes into a marriage that actually do get married come into that marriage with a child or children. 40%.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like with nation building and us figuring out who we are in these relations, or just will help our relationship. I think what I mean. That's the main problem. Is we don't know who we are.
Well, I'll tell you what. You got a lot of time to find out who you are while you're getting yourself together so that you can be married. That when you're married, then you can get first-hand information. Then you can experience what it's like being married. Marriage ain't for everybody. I have to tell you that.
Yeah.
The woman gonna have to be strong, and the man gonna have to be strong in order to be married. Don't get married, man. Don't get married if you're selfish. Yeah. Women, if you're selfish, don't get married. It won't be for you, because there's the duty for the man and there's the duty for the wife. You cannot be. See, if one person in that marriage is selfish, it's going to destroy that relationship, because it's going to be an imbalance. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Steve.
So you have to be willing to
give.
There's a give and take. There's compromise in a marriage.
Steve.
You see what I'm saying? But most of all, in a marriage, you must have positive communication. You must have active communication.
Very true. Very true.
A lack thereof can make can break that relationship.
Steve.
It'd be like a relationship on crutches.
Yeah.
It'll cripple that relationship.
Yes, sir. All right, there's a quote that I heard a long time ago. No, I'll say that one.
You said you have some reaction videos too. We want to get to some of them.
No time, kind of getting away.
Yeah, but you know what? It's always good. But I'm always gonna tell you what I believe to be right, and that's according to my understanding of the law, and just what's right. Period. You don't want to bring issues into your into your marriage that don't need to be there.
For sure. All right, so on this was a Facebook post. One of my brothers on my friend list, he had said, this is what he quoted. I said she right 28 times, and she's still talking.
Yeah. Well, this tells me a lot about this particular woman that still talking after he done already said that she's right 28 times. She's imposing her will, and it sounds like she's an argumentative type woman, which is actually a red flag. Yeah. Because I don't know if this is in a relationship over a period of time that she got to that point or whatnot, but either way, it's not a healthy thing, because a lot of times a man will just say you're right just so he don't have to deal with arguing and going back and forth. It may be that he said something or did something or whatever, and wasn't no compromising with her. So he might have just, even though he might have disagreed, he say, yeah, baby, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I was wrong. You're right. However you want to put it. Right. And she's just still going on and going on and going on. And
how should he deal with that? Should he just leave at that point? Walk out the room?
Go sit on the porch, walk out the room, get in the car and go buy a juice or something. Get away, cool off, and then hope when he come back. But don't be gone too long, maybe an hour tops or whatever. When he get back, hopefully things didn't calm down a little bit.
All right, we got another post right here. It says, if a woman can't follow a man's leadership when she disagrees most with his decisions, then she don't need to be with that man, as she don't trust him fully to lead her. Now that went viral. Look, that got 500 responses, 39 shares, and 435 comments on that one.
That woman, especially if they're married, okay? Go back to that.
Yes, sir.
That woman, especially if they're married, if she can't follow that man's leadership, then, like I said, a woman is either going to be a liability or an asset. That woman right there is definitely a liability.
Dang.
Because he might tell her, hey, look, I don't want you to go over in this area at this particular time of night because this particular thing is going on. And they don't, just trying to keep her safe and trying to keep himself safe. And she say, I ain't on that. She gonna do what she gonna do. She could create a huge problem for that marriage, not only for that marriage, for her safety, for his safety or whatever. Because, let me ask you a question. If a person really wanted to get at you, they're going to go for what your weakness would be if they're trying to get at you in a lot of cases, right? And a man's weakness, and I have to put it that way only for this understanding right here, not that that's a weak link or anything, but 9 times out of 10, that's going to be a man's wife. That's just like if the system trying to build a case up against you for some bull or whatever, and say they get to the wife. And tell the wife, well, we're going to do this. We're going to take this from you. We're going to do this, that, and the other. You need to get out and save yourself. They might say, well, you're going to get locked up and your baby going to be placed in foster care or whatever, because they know that eventually, most likely, she's going to be that your weakness.
Yeah.
So they'll get to her first. That's just like if a man want to get to you, he might try to get to you through your woman.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? And that's just the reality. So that's why it's always good to have a woman that's, y'all say 10 toes down with you?
Yes, sir.
Who's going to be completely loyal. Right. Then she won't fall for that. But this right here, if a woman can't follow that man's leadership, first of all, she's a liability. If she's going to disagree most of the time with his decisions, then she's not respecting him or his authority. Why is he with that woman? And I know over time, sometimes the situation might get to be that way. And I will always advise people to try to work things out rather than to destroy that relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the goal is to have somebody that's going to be there for you. And you guys learn how not to run,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
during those rough times. That's when you're supposed to be like 10 toes down with one another. What you got there?
These are some of the comments I was just trying to see.
What do you think would cause a female not to follow? Do you think it's something maybe that can fall off in that man that will cause her to go into a state to where I think that I shouldn't follow this man?
A loss of respect. Whether a loss of respect for that leadership, just a loss of respect for that man in general.
What do you think things he can do to keep her from losing respect to him?
That he can do?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, by the time she done already lost the respect, he done already did something. Or
That's what I'm
matter
saying.
of fact, in some cases, it might not be him. It might be her. Maybe she just don't want to be with him no more because of a lot of disagreements or whatever. Just being fed up. That can be a big ball of maybe this or maybe that. But like I said, once a woman have left you mentally, she's already gone. She just haven't left physically yet. What do you think about that?
Nah, that's probably the most deepest quote that I heard all day.
Because a woman is going to leave you mentally before she leaves you physically.
So it ain't nothing you could do to get her back?
Well, let me tell you. If a woman is, and you got to remember, and women, if you're out there, agree with me or disagree with me, but women, for the most part, live in their emotions. They may want something at this particular time, but it could be a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, or whatever later, then they've changed their mind or whatnot. That's why I said a woman is more like an ocean more so than a swimming pool. That swimming pool is blocked in. The water's only going to go so far. It ain't going to be all wavy and everything. You see what I'm saying? But the ocean is vast, it's bigger. And just consider that ocean to be a woman's emotions. Some guys ain't going to get it. But women understand exactly what I'm saying, if they're honest.
So the man can basically ride the wave until it can get...
You can if a person chooses to do that, if it's not to the point to where it's just bad. But I'm like this. It would be hard for me to be with want to be with somebody who don't want to be with me.
Oh yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's hard. Why would if you know somebody just really don't want to be with you, they have no regard or respect for you or whatever. Why would you want to be with that person?
Well, say y'all spent years in a relationship and more married for years.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Make it work.
If it then went downhill to where there's ain't no coming back from it or whatnot. See, because men and women think completely different. Do you understand? There's been a lot. You can get on the internet and you see there's been a lot of women who left a relationship, because a marriage, in fact, because they were unhappy. And then once they got out there on the dating scene and they saw that, oh, shoot, what did I do? And they regretted it.
Oh, yeah.
You can look on there and you'll see floods and floods and floods. Seriously. Do research on it. You'll find, and they be on there crying, talking about they made a bad mistake, and and you'll find even situations on there where there's women encouraging other women to leave a relationship if they're unhappy. They're unhappy. So those people that are encouraging to leave will probably never be married. Because that's the type of woman who, when you hear the thing, misery love company. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to encourage other women to leave because they're not happy. Men, it is not your responsibility to make your wife happy. You can add to her happiness, nor can she make you happy. She can add to your happiness. That's like saying if she was not there anymore, you would never be happy. If he's not there anymore, she could never be happy. That makes no sense. We all have to be happy within ourselves. We have to have that self-love, at least enough to know how to love yourself, right?
Right.
So we got any more reaction videos?
This is the last one.
Let's see what that say. Can that get larger?
Yeah.
I can't read it right there. Oh, there you go. When your wife from the Bronx. Okay, when your wife is from the Bronx and she have a lot of masculine energy. Cut it on.
That's not where you're
Run that back with the volume.
You took the garbage out already?
That's not where you're gonna talk to me. Red flag.
She's coming in. If she her femininity, most likely she wouldn't even have to ask him. He'd already had it out. Well, she coming, yo, you took the garbage out already? I'm like, well, hold on, wait a minute, who you talking to? yeah, as men, come on now.
A lot of young men gonna go through stuff like that when you're young and in your 20s and stuff.
Because they don't know no better.
Yeah.
And then, see, here's the thing, and I got
you might even put up with it in your silliness.
And I got to say this.
Yeah.
Men and women are both affected by the absence of a father in your house when you're growing up.
Damn.
Not just women, because I know you've heard things where women have daddy issues, right?
Right.
Well, men have so-called daddy issues as well.
Big tough.
And I can attest to it because let's say that my experience, and this ain't to poop on my father or anything, because even when I say my prayers, I pray for my father who's still alive and my deceased mother, and then I pray for everybody else. But my father didn't, let's say he wasn't the father he's the father that I have.
Right.
Not necessarily the father that I would have loved to have.
Right, I got
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I didn't learn a lot from my father. The only thing that I really learned from my father was not to be like my father. And again, that's not pooping on him, because that encouraged me to be a better man in light and in spite of what I did or didn't have. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
So again, that ain't to poop on my father. And then my father's still alive and well. In his 80s, lived 2 streets away from me, but I'd be willing to bet that he wouldn't know my children if he saw them.
That's wild. I don't understand that.
I used to keep trying to build a relationship with my father, and I think I was in my 50s, and my wife asked me, "Why do you keep trying?" Because I kept getting shut down.
Oh, that's crazy.
But when you feel that void, you it's just something that's missing, you know. So I wish I would have had the father to teach me this and to teach me that and other things. So when somebody say, "Well, man, how you know that?" I say, "My father taught me."
Yeah.
You know.
What you got to say about children out there that do have fathers and they don't really want nothing to do with them, but they want to be present in their life, and they even have been throughout history.
The fathers that want to be present in their children's life? Is that what you just said? But the child don't want to?
And that have shown forth that, hey, I'm a solid father, you know, and I want those things, but the son or the daughter, like, nah, I'm cool. I don't want
Well, in some cases, not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, the father has been demonized. And ladies, if this don't apply to you, you don't need to get angry. I'm just going to tell the truth and shame the
You
devil.
got so much wisdom. I know exactly where you're going
I'm
to
going
go.
to say, in a lot of cases,
Go
the
ahead.
father has been demonized by that mother to that child and telling that child, your father ain't this, your father ain't that, your father don't love you, this, that, and the other, talking very negatively to that child about the father. But in some cases, a woman knows she's doing damage to that child and will still do it. And in some cases, maybe they haven't considered that they're doing some damage to that child. When a child grows up and has that imbalance, you have that mother, but not that father, you're depriving that son, especially if you could aid in that child and that father being brought back together.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? If you can aid in that, but you help to destroy that because you're upset with the father, so you're going to keep the child away, or because there's a lot of vindictive women who will and have done that, then you're destroying that child. And then you cannot teach your male son how to be a man. If anything, a lot of cases, and women, please don't get upset because I'm going to tell the truth on this. Bless all those single parents who take care of their children, their sons and their daughters. But if you deprive your son from his father and you say, well, you're going to raise him, then you're going to raise him, check this out, you're going to raise him to be in a way to where he's going to be dealing with women in a different way. He's not going to know how to cover himself from being abused by women. Because you're going to teach him most likely that he should be this way with a woman. He's going to be that way with a woman. You're going to teach a man how to deal with a woman. And in a lot of cases, that man that's raised by that woman is not going to know how to deal with women the right way. Not going to be able to deal with them the right way. And I know you don't want to see your son abused by a woman or mistreated by a woman. And it takes a male to teach a man how to be a man. And just because you may be upset with that particular man, you know, all men are not the same. And if you don't want your son to be taken advantage of by other women, then there's a man. Just have a strong male in his life, a strong man that he can be around at least. Allow other men to have access to your son, like a big brother or something. I'm not saying rent him out to a big brother. Maybe you have a big brother, or there's an uncle or somebody that can show him. Let him have access to his father. But by the time, in a lot of cases, that a child actually gets access to his father, you already have resentment because of what he was told. In a lot of cases, and that will destroy your child. I'm telling you.
Damn.
I know my father was present, but for the most part, I grew up without my father. I had to learn certain things without my father. Till this very day, I still wish I had a relationship with my father. There are certain things that only a father can fulfill for a son. You know, so man, that's deep right there.
Yeah. Nah, you on point. Now you got a response to that. Sister said, not always. not even most of the time, a lot of time, the man does not fight for their child. What you think about that?
She may be right in a lot of cases, but I will say this, not in all cases.
Right.
Not in all cases, because I'll tell you this right here. A lot of times a man will stay in a relationship with the woman that he's in because he don't want to leave his children. He don't want to leave. Matter of fact, he may not even want to leave the relationship, but he definitely don't want to leave his children. A lot of guys, I guarantee you, a lot of guys will put up with whatever to be with their children. See, and if you check the stats, you'll find that it's 80% of women that initiate a divorce that will walk away and destroy that household instead of learning how to figure things out and make it work. You can be unhappily married because you ain't going to be happy all the time, but there's going to be times that you're going to be happy and still be married and make that relationship work. But when we snatch the foundation, that very foundation from the children, it cripples them right off the top. Yep. It cripples them right off the top.
And I don't want to offend my sister, but it kind of sounds like you're defending a woman, and it sounds like we lacking accountability here, because she just said, and again, that goes back to the man being prudent in choosing a woman to bear his children.
Well, wait a minute. What if he's not prudent enough, but he get the woman that ain't going to be right? What if he got a woman that ain't going to be right? What if he had a disagreeable woman? What if he had a woman who's just not willing to take instruction from him? And I did say instruction. Because that wife is that man's helpmate. So he would have to give her instruction on things that he need her to be able to do.
That's right.
Everybody has a role in the marriage. And we've been given that fairy tale that come from Disney, that everything's got to be perfect. He's supposed to make her happy, get the house with the picket fence and the dog and all that. That's not reality. That's not the truth. A lot of our women have been lied to about what marriage is. See, it's like I say the generations right now, and this is not against you. This is just me talking fact. And I'm a man of 65 years of age, and I've been married more than one time. I would much rather be married and live with my wife and my children. A lot of guys are outside the home for various reasons. Maybe that man might have been weak and he just couldn't take it. You see what I'm saying? You got to be strong to deal with a woman. As a woman, got to be strong to deal with a man, because our personalities are completely different. Men and women do not communicate the same. You see what I'm saying? Some people, when they get upset, they may shut down and not communicate at all. Then other people, when they're upset, they might just want to try to work things out so that we can move on. You see? But we can't put that, like when I say things about women, some women might think that I'm talking about all women. I assure you, I am not talking about all women. There's always the exception to the rule. But I'm talking about the vast majority. And I will say this. In a lot of cases, you can get angry if you want to. You have some men that don't want to accept accountability, but you have a whole lot more women that refuse to accept accountability, period. Now, that's key. Now, you might disagree with me. Let me see how you feel about that right there.
She said, I hear you and agree. It's up to us both to make it work.
There you go. There you go. So, like I just made a statement, like being unhappily married. That don't mean you're going to be unhappy the whole time. That means you just might be unhappy when you're unhappy. And there's going to be, I guarantee you, the male is going to be unhappy at times, and there's going to be times that the woman is unhappy. But I guarantee you, a marriage that's just been going on 40, 50, 60, 70 years, they've had their share of that, but they've learned how to work through things and keep that marriage together. Nobody wants to just be miserable and be by themselves. I don't think anybody just feel like they want to die alone. Everybody wants to have a companion. You see what I'm saying? So we find what we can get and work with it the best that we can. But we got to keep them track shoes off. And what I mean by the track shoes, people tend to be more weak and watered down these days and quick to run. Quick to run. When you ever heard that expression, when the going get tough, the tough get going?
Yeah, that's up.
No, that's loyalty. Look that word up again, because I want to give it per definition. And I'm saying loyalty it's not just I'm not going to cheat on you and you don't cheat on me. I want you to read this definition of loyalty. Matter of fact, just read loyal first. Just read loyal. Go, because there's going to be a different definition. Read loyal.
I think my definition might be a little different.
Yeah, let me do this real quick here.
I'm gonna just get it on Google because I was going on the dictionary. I got you, bro.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Because this is crucial. That we need people to understand this in a relationship. Like I gave an example. I'm loyal to my job. I'm loyal to my responsibilities. That ain't got nothing to do with cheating. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead and read it.
Loyal, giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or institution. Giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance to a person or institution.
Constant support. Unwavering support. So let's say not to an institution, because I'm loyal to my job, what I do. But I'm also loyal to my wife. And as any man, you still going to have your disagreements. Do you see what I'm saying? But even in that, hey, I'm going to love you through it. I'm going to love you through it. So respond to that right there on King, as far as being loyal.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Constant support.
If men and women, even through their disagreements, if you don't pull back your support from me and I don't pull back my support from you, then we loyal. We're going to figure this out. Mm-hmm. We're going to learn, and we're going to learn together how to make it keep working. It only breaks down when one person don't want to put in the work. When either one or both parties don't want to put in the work. And I don't advise people to get married if they're not willing to put in that work. Marriage is not what a lot of people think. Marriage is work. But it's a good deal for both parties if you make it work. And women, if you get a traditional man and you can and you have a good spirit, you'd be surprised. You'll most likely have a great marriage if you got a good man and you have a good spirit. If you're not the argumentative type, if you're not using a lot of profanity towards them or just using a lot of profanity, period. If you're just being in your femininity and relax and let him take the lead, if you got a good man, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
Easy.
But now with those modern mindsets, that's completely different. Because she might have a modern mindset, he have a modern mindset. Okay, now you got big problems.
Real talk. She said, I agree. Again, it's taking them both to achieve that.
There you go. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Do you think the system, the way the system and certain laws and everything is set up, makes it hard for men to really have their children in their life when, you know, those two individuals part ways?
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. This system that we live up under is designed for the benefit of a woman. A lot of guys might think that there's no benefit for them to get married. No real benefit, because they're taking a chance with today's society, with the way women are, these modern women are today. Yeah. That's just like you get some, I can explain it to you on a bunch of different levels. Let me go two different ways here. Say you get somebody who's a professional athlete, right? And he's got a good, nice, healthy contract or whatnot. A woman, she, and this is not, all women is not going to do this, but this is just an example how the system is not set up for a man. Say he don't have a prenup or anything at all. He marries this woman. Now some women, they just want to have a baby by somebody and not necessarily be married to him. And that's a paycheck for them. And a lot of women, not all, but a lot of women using that baby for income. Damn. To support their lifestyle. But say you get a professional athlete. And again, I'm not talking about all women. Say you get a professional athlete. And for some reason, whatever the reason is, you're divorced. Now you're taking the court for child support and taking half of his assets. And the court going to approve that. You see what I'm saying? Now with just a regular man here. If a man falls out with his woman or she falls out with him and she decides that she's going to leave, then she's going to leave and she's going to take the children and he's going to keep supporting her lifestyle. She's taking the court. She's getting child support, in some case, depending on where you're at, alimony or whatnot. And then taking half of his assets as well. Where's the benefit for the guy?
There it is.
Where's the benefit for the guy? Even when the welfare system came to play, a woman couldn't have anything in that house that pertained to a man. Otherwise, she was cut off. In a lot of cases, if a man can't pay child support because he's financially ruined or whatever, they'll lock him up, take his driver's license so he can't go to work. If he's missing his payments, those payments just keep going up or whatnot. It can get to the point to where a man can't take care of himself, let alone take care of somebody else. So this system, again, is designed for a woman. According to the Almighty in the book of Deuteronomy, when a woman when a man gives a woman a bill of divorcement, right? He gives her a bill of divorcement, puts it in her hand. She leaves his house. Then she can go be another man's wife. Not her and the children, because those children are to stay there with that father. So see, we got things all backwards here. And everything is designed. So a lot of guys these days, you're going to see in the coming future here, a lot of guys are not going to be getting married. And you can find this out all over the internet. People are saying, oh, no, no, no. Because they don't want to be suckers. They don't want to be taken advantage of. And just because men are men, we got to remember, ladies, that men have feelings too.
That's right.
Men commit suicide at a higher rate than women. And there's a big load. A woman will never understand, for the most part, only because she's not a man. She will not understand that it is extremely difficult for a man just to be a man in this country. Just to be a man. That's a heavy load.
Yep.
That's a heavy load. See, now, when a woman wants a man to lead, but she won't let him lead, then that's a problem. When she wants a man to protect her, but she's doing everything to go against him, how can he protect her? You see, and then why would a man want to lend his resources, should I say, or spend his resources on a woman, his protection, his finances, this, that, and the other, if the woman is just not in line with him, don't want to follow him, you see, don't want to support him. Now, I'm not saying this is you. I'm not saying this is all women. I'm saying there are various situations, and it's really, really hard for a man to be a man. And when a man leaves a relationship, I know it has to be really, not unless every now and then it might just be a bum. I'm going to call it like it is. Every now and again it might just be a bum. But men, and if you've experienced the love of a man, you know men love hard. In general, that's a general statement there. It's a lot easier for a man, for a woman to get a man than for a man to get a woman.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier. So I suggest when people get with somebody that they can respect and they can appreciate, they put forth the work to make that relationship work and to make that relationship last. Because I'm going to tell you, who wants to grow old and be alone? Especially if you don't have no children to take care of you when you get older. And you don't have a spouse to help take care of you when you get older. And you just cast to the side and somebody just throw you in a little nursing home. Or you don't have anybody to check in on you, all those things. That's crucial.
Yeah, it is.
That's crucial. Like I say, my hope is just to give some information at least somebody might consider that may help their relationship, and hopefully that relationship lead to a marriage if it's not already a marriage. Being a player and having a bunch of women, now a guy might think that's cool. But as he get older, he going to realize that ain't never been cool. It ain't never been cool. I can attest to it. It ain't never been cool. But a wife that's not willing to listen and take direction from her husband, that's a liability. So, but let me say this too, though, because a lot of times the women say it was the man. So I'm gonna put it this way: if a woman marry a man and that man's a fool, then that make her the bigger fool, because she married him. And a fool, I always give a definition when I use that word. A fool is either a very unwise or a very silly individual. And everybody played a fool sometime. So many ways to be a fool, you can't miss them all. But that don't mean we got to be a fool all the time. Now, I'm going to give it about another maybe 15 minutes because I thought I'd have probably been gone maybe
We ain't gonna hold you.
No. We good because I want to entertain anything. Oh, I'm getting ready to go spend.
I think you done lit them up on the chat. Ain't nobody saying that now.
Please give me some feedback because if I'm wrong about something, look, I'm right here. I ain't got no track shoes on. I'm not running. I'm only gonna give the best possible advice that I know how to give.
Now we appreciate my sister Jessica commenting because
absolutely
you brought out some good points. We appreciate
absolutely.
Just to finish up this response video, because I know we had it on the agenda, so we'll let you respond to this. We're going to start it over.
Yo, you took the garbage out already?
That's not the way you're gonna talk to me. Red flag.
Alright. You took the garbage out?
What the hell is it? Alright, red flag.
Learned yet? That's all.
Babe, you be bugging, man. I'm just asking you a question.
Red flag. What is bugging?
Be fake it. I know she know better than that.
Babe? Excuse me. Have you taken the garbage out?
I will, honey.
See, let's stop there for a second. Ladies, listen to me. It's not what you say to that significant other, it's how you say it. Tone and volume says a lot. Tone and volume, the right tone, the right volume, I'm telling you, it can make or break a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think we already know that, but sometimes, and that works with men as well. You see what I'm saying? Men and women.
Yeah, that's
but the bottom line is, it ain't just for the women. Men should watch how we speak to our women too.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. But a lot of times, because of whatever situation might be in the mix of something, sometimes somebody might say something and it's said in a way that's not appreciated. It's said in a way that we don't consider that may just be disrespectful. And so we have to keep in mind, if there's somebody that you really appreciate, like an elder or somebody, you're going to always want them to see the best side of you. Why not treat your spouse like that? Why not treat your significant other like that? Hopefully they're just as important, if not more important. You see? So we want to nurture our relationships. And the best way to learn how to nurture those relationships is first thing is to have a good communication. And if you don't have good communicative skills, then just work on it. Just work on it. Period. Just work on it. Start with the little things. Learn how to have conversations. And you'll be surprised. Him and her start smiling. Having even more conversations. But remember, in a relationship, in a marriage, the husband and the wife should be able to talk about anything from A to Z and not have a dispute, an argument or something. Whether you agree or disagree with what's being said, you should learn how to have a conversation about anything, like I say, from A to Z. And then if you feel like you're getting heated because the conversation may not be going your way or it ain't going his way, then say, hey, let's take a little time. Let's resume this maybe in 20, 30 minutes, Go for a walk, go make a sandwich, do whatever. Mm-hmm. And then if the time permits, just go back. And see, these are just things that we need to learn how to do because, believe it or not, the men and the women need to learn how to nurture their relationship. And earlier I was talking about building relationship equity. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. making your relationship more valuable to you. By doing those things, it's going to build it and not tear it down.
Yes, sir.
Now, today is my wedding anniversary. We've been married 17 years today. And in June, it'll be 18 years together. So that means I was with my wife for less than a year and we got married. So I'm going to go home so I can celebrate with my wife.
Shout out to y'all,
Unless you have any other questions. Like I say, if you got questions, go and send them in real quick. I ain't going to profess to act like I know everything. The things that I know. And the things that I don't know, I'll let you know. I got to get back with you on that. Okay?
I think everybody good for the most part.
But I do hope that people start sharing these videos. And I know I'm going to say a lot of things that are controversial. But I'm going to tell you, I strongly believe the things and know the things that I say to be true. Again, not in every single case. And again, I got to say this before we leave here. If I say something and it don't pertain to you, then there's no reason for you as an individual to get angry with me. And I'm talking to anybody who's listening or that may come and visit this channel or might see this particular video or whatnot. I'm going to state facts, and these facts are not going to be true for every single person. And like I said, when I'm talking about women, I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about a lot of women, probably the vast majority of women, because there's always an exception to the rule. But the Almighty said we done worse than our fathers. And I understand what that means. So he also said that Israel is very hard-headed, stiff-necked, rebellious. He also said that if he'd went to any other people, that they would have hearkened. So I'm not going to act like Israel, even the men or the women, are angels. I'm not going to act like that. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to give it to you raw like honey. And hope we can digest it. Because those are the things, if I sugarcoat things, then that means I'm minimizing it. And I don't want to minimize anything that don't need to be minimized, because we need to hear it for what it is so that we can make the proper adjustments if we want to have good relationships. And again, hopefully those relationships are either already marriages or those that are headed towards a marriage. All right?
Beautiful podcast. Appreciate you. Happy anniversary to you and Don as well, man.
Praise the mighty Yah. Hopefully, some of the information, if not all the information, was a benefit to those that heard it, and will be a benefit to those that hear it. Like I say, I've been on this earth for 65 years, and I've been involved with females since the age of at least 16 years. 16 years old. So that's a long time.
Also, anybody have any, if y'all want to tag us on Facebook, go ahead and do that in the post. If you got anything, any questions you want to ask us, go ahead and tag it in the post during out the week. Any questions that come to mind in terms of relationship, marriage, and just a man's responsibility in a marriage or roles, anything along that nature, tag us on Facebook in a post, and I'll be sure to check that, and we'll pull your comment up on the next stream that we do. All right.
Please, and make sure you comment if you choose to. Make sure you share these videos. Share them. Send them to a friend. Tell a friend to send it to another friend. Let's get it going. All right?
All right.
Praise God. Hallelujah.
Shalom.